Hey YouTube, it's Erin, and I am the Handbag Housewife, and I'm back again with another video. So I am back from New Orleans, and upon arriving back, I had a package waiting for me. It arrived while I was gone on vacation. It actually showed up the day after I left, and that was sort of unfortunate because I bought this item from Poshmark, and the way Poshmark works is items over $500 are shipped to their authentication center, which I, by the way, do not trust because they have authenticated a peekaboo for me and told me it was real. And when I got it re-authenticated, it turned out to be fake. So much like Vestiaire Collective, they have authentication services authenticating their bags that make some pretty big mistakes, let's just say. But that said, I went to the pre-loved market because there was a color of a specific bag I was looking for that was no longer available. And I sold a couple of Coach bags so that I could acquire this particular style of bag, and my favorite color was only available on Poshmark. And so what I did is I looked at the seller, I looked at their love notes, I looked at their volume of sales, and I found nothing negative. And the bag they had for sale, they actually were reposhing it from another individual who also had impeccable feedback and ratings. And so I felt like that this particular bag had been through Poshmark authentication twice, at least by the time it made it to me. And so that's a pretty good indicator, if it's had two different sets of eyes look at it, that it is the real deal. So Poshmark, they don't actually have in-house authentication. They do everything by pictures. Allegedly, they submit pictures just like you or I would to an authentication service. And I don't know who they use. I don't know if they're choosing a bargain basement option at some times, and that's why things like the Fendi Peekaboo that I bought that was somewhat clearly a fake, at least in the eyes of a lot of my subscribers. I don't know if that is why sometimes things like that slip through the cracks, or if it's just the luck of the draw and human error, which is certainly a possibility. Now, in the thumbnail, I put something about the most disgusting or ew, gross, or something like that. I haven't gotten that far down the road yet. I'm pretty tired, still recovering from the trip. But I have to say that what I experienced after I opened up the box in my car was kind of disgusting. And it's interesting because I was listening to a video by the Hopeful Minimalist on the way to get this package, and she was talking about a very similar disgusting experience she had with another platform, and I'm pretty sure it's another platform. She indicated it might be the Real in the comments. I, of course, am dealing with Poshmark. So the lady I bought the bag from, she shipped it into Poshmark headquarters, and in her description of herself, she talks about how well she takes care of her bags, how she conditions them regularly. She takes pride in her handbag collection, a lot like I do. And so when I went to the post office to pick up the box, I'm going to put either some photographs of the video I took or screen grabs or something. I took a little video. The box came to me in a somewhat crushed state, and it looked like somebody had taken a knife and opened it up and then sealed it back closed with a piece of clear tape. And this worried me because there's a story I haven't told you quite yet, but I was recently involved in a transaction where I think it's highly likely that an item was swapped out by someone who allegedly may have worked for the post office. And it's all alleged. I don't know what the true truth is. I'm going to share with you the whole story very soon. It's not a purchase I was making. It was actually something I was selling. And it was a nightmare that started back in September and just got resolved last week. And so that is an upcoming video that I'm going to share with you. Just be confident that in a situation where you don't get your bag, I am here for you. And I think that the buyer that I was working with since last September would attest to that. And I'm going to let you know the whole story and we'll work through it together. And I think it is a fascinating one, and I still don't know in the end what really happened. But with regards to the package I picked up today, because it looked like it had been tampered with, I told the man I picked up the package from that I wanted to open it right there. And he said, you can refuse it, or if you don't refuse it, if you open it, then you will have to pay return postage if something's wrong. But if you just refuse it, then you won't have to pay return postage. And I said, well, I don't want to refuse it. I really want what is supposed to be inside. But before I leave the post office, I want to make sure that whatever is inside wasn't swapped, because that is something that may have happened to me in the recent past. And again, I'm not 100% sure of what really happened to me and to this other gal, but it's a possibility that that is one of the things that could have happened. And so I wanted to open up the package before I left. So he went and got the postmaster, and the postmaster worked with me during this other story that I'm going to tell you. And so she knew who I was. She came up to the front and I opened it in front of her. I opened it just enough that I could see that the bag that was supposed to be in the box was in the box. And that was good enough for me. Anything else I could deal with directly with Poshmark, and I didn't need to deal with it with the post office. So I went out to my car and I opened it up, and at first glance, it looked really good. It looked as good as or better than I expected it to. And then I started looking closer. I had the daylight in my favor, so I looked at the different angles. I looked at all the corners. I noticed that one corner was darkened a little bit. I noticed that on the side of the bag that there was some blackening, especially in the grooves of the pebbled leather. And I opened the bag up, looked inside. Initially, I thought perfection, nothing wrong. The hardware looked amazing, even though the stickers had been removed. And then I looked a little closer. After just watching the video with the Hopeful Minimalist, I thought, I'm going to look at everything. And I kind of pulled out the strap to look at it. And inside of the coils, nothing on the outside of the strap, which would be outward facing if you were wearing it, but inside of the coils, there was some sort of food splattered all over a section about this long, and it was on the inside, all in that one area, as if the food had been splattered while the particular strap was wrapped in a circle. And I thought, that is really odd. So I grabbed my water wipe, which is alcohol-free, and I went to work. I worked on the side spot where the blackening had sunken into the grooves. I worked on the corner where it had darkened. And I forgot to mention the strap where the piece had touched the leather at the different adjusting points. There was a little black dot in like 5 different places where the strap had been adjusted and then maybe left in position. I worked on those, and all of that came off except for the corner, and I'll get to that in a second. And then I worked on the food stain. And again, I think it was maybe like a soupy melted cheese that had splattered, or maybe like a creamy, yellowish, cream-based soup that had splattered and dried on the inside of the strap. And so that all came off. And what's crazy is I shouldn't have to clean food splatter off of my bag. I understand that the tarnish spots, I mean, maybe that could have got missed. I probably wouldn't have missed it. I inspect things pretty carefully. Whatever that dark spot was on the side, I think that would have been the easiest thing of these things to miss. But that came off, especially when I put my finger on the inside of the bag and kind of pushed out so where it wasn't indented, and then it all came off. The corner had a very, very mild abrasion to it, and that could only be seen when it was wet from the wet wipe. As soon as it dried, it disappeared. And so at this point, I've decided I'm going to keep the bag. I go in and I hit accept that I'm going to keep it, but I send the lady a note and I gave her 5 stars because I really don't know that she is the one who splattered the bag with food. I mean, I just don't see with the love note she's got, the volume of sales that she has, that she would risk her reputation and send an item that was that dirty. The little tarnish spots, I mean, she may not have even thought to look for those. They may not have been visible when she put the bag away with the strap coiled up. And the thing on the side, she could have missed that easily. The thing on the front corner, again, it was very faint. And the abrasion I'm talking about, you could only see it when it's wet. A lot of times with leather, you can't see corner scuffs unless you go to wipe the bag off with a damp cloth. And then when it gets damp, the darkness of the leather that doesn't have paint on it will kind of come through and show you an abrasion that's not visible when the bag's dry. So what I did when I got home is I took just the tiniest bit, the tiniest little dab on my finger of, I think it's Angelus Matte Acrylic Finisher, and just dabbed it on that corner. And while I was at it, I dabbed it on all 4 corners of the bag because that basically is a sealer and it's just an extra coat of paint, but it's clear and it doesn't have a sheen to it really. Not much of a sheen, not any more of a sheen than the bag had already. And it's going to protect it a little bit. If the bag were to get rubbed again, it'll hopefully keep the paint intact or the color on the bag intact. And if I were to scuff it again, I would apply a little bit more of that on the corner again. I'll link that product down in my description box if you want to know what I used. All that said, I sent the gal I bought it from a message and told her about the food. And she's like, oh my God, you should report that. You should take a photograph and report it. And in hindsight, I maybe should have, but I replied back to her. I said, I really don't think you did this. And I think what happened is that when they were inspecting it, that somebody spilled something on it. And because I don't know who did it, and I think it's probably not her based on her reputation, and Poshmark is notorious for even when they repack bags to send them out to you, they do a terrible job. And so, you know, I could see somebody splashing something on it, not realizing that it was there, putting the strap back in the bag, which thank goodness it didn't get on the interior of the bag, and then sending it on its merry way. And then this poor gal would have got the blame for it. And I didn't want to tarnish her reputation. And so I just gave her 5 stars and accepted the bag because I wanted to keep it. And you can see not one iota of visible damage now that I've worked my magic fingers on it. So now that you know the whole story behind this bag, I figure I might as well show it to you. We're 15 minutes into the video. It'll probably be more like 10, but hopefully I've kept you entertained. Let's go ahead and check it out. So I had it turned around because this is a luxury unboxing, but I didn't want you to know the brand until the very last minute. It is a Mulberry bag, but other than a purchase in May or a purchase around the May timeframe, this is probably the last luxury bag or any sort of bag that I will purchase before late summer or early fall for my birthday timeframe. My birthday's in October. In order to space things out a little more evenly, I might push my birthday purchase up a month or 2 and then have a Christmas purchase as well. But this is going to be it unless I sell something or unless my May purchase is a handbag for quite a while. So let's see what I got. While I was searching for that mini Bayswater, I was looking at mini Alexas, and there's a beautiful mulberry pink one at the outlet that I've shown you all a picture of in the last video. This is the color Lilac Blossom. Now, the outlet had the powder pink color when I was talking to them about the mini Bayswater, and I was so tempted by the powder pink, but I've got Rose Ballerine, and because Melissa Adams Wade did a video showing her Rose Ballerine Alma BB right next to her powder pink mini Alexa, I decided I wanted to pass on that color. And I have other pink bags, but I don't have any purple bags. And this is the most beautiful shade of lilac that I ever did see. And I just want to put it up next to my acrylic green mini Bayswater. You can see that the mini Alexa's quite a bit bigger, really. And it's also one big open pit. So I do think it will hold way more. And if you look at it from the side, you can see that it spreads out a lot more that way as well. If you look at them from the bottom, you can really see a difference there. So I do think that my items are going to fit in this bag more comfortably than they do in this, but I was able to fit everything in this that I normally carry, and so I am loving to have both of them. I might be able to squeeze a can of Diet Dr. Pepper into the mini Alexa. I bet I can. I'm not going to do what's in my bag today. I'll have to do that on another day. Maybe we'll just have to compare these two and see how much room is available in each one after I put my normal items inside. When I got back home from our trip, I found out that I had my Zumani inserts for both of these bags waiting. I think this one is in the color Sea Mist, and there is a front and a back for this insert. It gets narrower at the front to follow the line of the bag, and then a little wider at the back. So it's a really nice custom fit. This one is in the 1.2 millimeter thickness. I didn't want to take up any extra space at all inside of this bag. I wanted it to be more of a liner. I like that it has the pockets. It's got one long pocket on each side, so that'll be a lot nicer to put my cash in than these credit card slots. But basically, with this bag, I could completely eliminate my small leather goods and probably just carry the little pouch that I like to carry to keep sharps and wet things inside. So I'm gonna put Miss Minnie Bayswater away. Still loving this bag. Haven't used her yet because I have been gone, but now that I'm back and spring is approaching, or here almost, she's gonna be coming out to play. So like I mentioned, the Lilac Blossom is a discontinued color, or maybe I didn't mention that, but it is. And when I checked, the outlets did not have this color. It has a beautiful kind of aged brass hardware. I don't know if you would call that rose gold. It almost looks like it could be. Looks like there's still some stickers even on these little studs. I'm gonna just take those off. We get a little bit of sticker action. I don't usually take stickers off my stuff, but these are kind of, I don't know. I don't want them on there. So the previous owner did take the sticker off of this, and I feel like this little turn piece is so small and so minimal that I'm not really worried about it scratching up the postman's lock. This postman's lock is pretty petite and it's not like super shiny, and so I don't think it'll be real noticeable if it does get a few scratches. I do have my mulberry green little softie here, and you can see the purple color next to that. I think this chain is going to look fabulous with the mini Alexa as well. So I'll definitely play with that and try the whole thing on in the future, but this is just going to be an unboxing since we did have a long story time. So the mini Alexa and all of the Alexas open by snapping open the two snaps and then doing the turn lock. And so that's how you get inside. I already put the icing pink Zumani organizer in there, and it did come with the Mulberry care card as well as the price tag, although it doesn't say the price on it. It does have the product information on this particular card. Zumani has started including these cute little additional pouches with their orders. And so you get the pouch, and then you also get a larger card holder or pouch for AirPods, and then also like a lipstick sized one as well. And again, this is the color icing pink, and you can really see how purple the bag is with the pink up against it. If you look inside, the organizer is truly a custom masterpiece and has a long pocket on one side and two slip pockets on the other side. And if you go ahead and pull out the liner, You can see that it's lined in suede with a floor of the gorgeous pebbled leather and a single slip pocket on the back. So when I opened the bag, I pulled out the strap and it was like the splatters were on the inside of the curve. And again, I got them all out. And in fact, when I reached out to the gal in our conversation, she told me that she treated all of her bags like I do with something like Colonel Carbon Pro. And so she said, I hope it all came off. And I said, it did, don't worry. But it's all clean and I am good with that. I really don't think this bag was used hardly at all. I mean, hence having the stickers still on those little nail heads. And the fact that the suede itself has no marks on it. The bag still smells of leather and not anybody's scent in particular. The leather is to die for. It is so super soft and squishy. I mean, it just feels amazing. This leather has a lot more of a coating on it. I have to train this to sit back down since it was sitting on top of this. But it has a lot more of a coating. It has a slicker feel. And this one's called acrylic green. I think that acrylic, it kind of is in the title, like that it's a little bit more of a finished product. I think this one has less of a sheen to it. It's more of a matte type finish and it feels amazing. I do like that the inside of the flap has the pebbled leather. And I also like that there's not a plate right here to hit up against this when it's coming over. So based on others trying this on and assessing their height and their weight and all that, I think I'm going to use this on the longest setting. The only drawback I see for the strap is that it doesn't have a keeper, but if I use it on the longest setting, that won't matter. I mean, it has the single keeper, but it doesn't have a second one if you are shorter. When I did pull this out of the box, the spots I was talking about were basically where this rests up against. There was like a little circular tarnish spot between, I think, like 3 or 4 of these holes. It was just a single black spot about the diameter or the width of one of these holes. And they wiped right off with a water wipe. So crisis averted, thank the Lord. When I was talking about the wear on the corner, it was this corner right here. There is some smoothing on the corners, but I think that that's natural with any bag with a pebbled finish when it's stretched around the corner and also as it rubs up against things. But again, I don't think this bag was hardly used. So I think that that smoothing is more because it's a super soft leather and it's stretched around those edges. But again, there's no visible wear, and I did touch each of those corners ever so briefly with just a tiny bit of the matte acrylic finisher. And I feel like that's going to protect particularly this corner, which is the one that had that tiny bit of abrasion on it, from losing its color if I bump it onto something. I'm looking up and now I see that I am almost at 30 minutes, which is insane. How can I talk this long? I'm getting a little froggy, so I think I'm going to sign out for this one, but I am super excited about this bag. I mean, look at the braided handle. It's gorgeous. Mulberry did better than Louis Vuitton, in my opinion, with the braided handle. I don't know if you ever saw the Croisette in the Ebene and in also the Azure that had the braided handle. Well, the Ebene, the braided handle was all funky looking. This one here, it just has a really nice shape to it and seems to kind of stay in it. I mean, it's a little off kilter right now, but nothing like what the Louis Vuitton, what I've seen it do. So I've been looking for beautiful purple. I think I found it. You'll have to let me know what you think. I love it. So that's the thing that's most important since I bought it. But I always like to hear your thoughts down in the comments section. As far as what I paid for it, I paid a little bit more than what I would have paid if I bought from the outlet directly. The outlet price for brand new when I bought this was $7.93 with no tax, free shipping. I think after I paid for the tax and shipping was free, I think it was $8.07 and change. So I paid a little more and it's used. So there's something to be said about that. But I got the color of my Mulberry dreams. So I think it was worth it. So that's a wrap. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Do it and ring the notification bell so that you are notified of future exciting content such as this. Also, go find me on Instagram. The name there's the same. It's the @ then the Handbag Housewife, all lowercase. You can DM me there or you can email me at thehandbaghousewife@gmail.com. If I don't hear from you, I will see you again real soon. Take care and have a fabulous day. Bye.